All right, last but not least, a system of inequalities word problems. So you will know if I want you to graph because the problem will tell you to, and I will provide an axis. So Hideo plans to spend no more than $60 at an entertainment store on DVDs and CDs. DVDs cost $17, CDs cost $14. He wants to buy at least 2 items. Write and graph a system of linear inequalities that describes this situation. What are 3 possible combinations of CDs and DVDs that he could buy? Write and graph a system of inequalities that describes the situation. Wow, seems intense, but we can summarize what's going on. So what are they asking us to find? The amount of CDs and DVDs he can buy. So I will let X equal number of CDs, and I will let Y equal number of DVDs. Usually when I'm graphing, I want to keep them X and Y, X and Y. So I know this side, X equals number of CDs, and Y equals number of DVDs. So make sure you label your axis after you define your variables. Okay, great. So what do they want us to do? So he plans on spending no more than $60. So he wants to spend less than or equal to $60. I know that much. And DVDs cost $17 each, and CDs cost $14 each. So I know 14x, which is $14 times the number of CDs, plus 17y, the cost of DVDs, times the number of DVDs, should be less than or equal to 60. Great. So let me go ahead and set up my second part of my system. I know he wants to buy at least 2 items, right? So he wants to buy greater than or equal to 2 items. What are the items he's trying to buy? CDs and DVDs. So the number of CDs plus the number of DVDs should be greater than or equal to 2. So here's my system I've set up. So remember, when we are finding our answers for these real life problems, we only want positive answers. He's never going to buy negative CDs or negative DVDs. So we only focus on the first quadrant. So we want our X and Y intercepts for both. So for my top equation, if I plug in 0 for Y, I get 14x equals 60. X equals 60 over 14. X equals 30 over 7, which equals 4 and 2/7. So there's my x-intercept for my first line. So 4 and 2/7 I'm going to approximate right about there. So if I plug in 0 for x, I'm left with 17y equals 60. Y equals 60 divided by 17. And that becomes y equals 3 and 9/17. So once again, we are going to approximate that point. 3 and 9/17 is just about here, I guess. So now I want to draw what kind of line through this. I know I want a solid line, so I'm going to try my best to draw a solid line through those points. Perfect. I'll worry about my shading later. So now for my second equation, if I plug in 0 for y, I have x equals 2. If I plug in 0 for x, I have y equals 2. So that's nice. My x-intercept is at 2, and my y-intercept is at 2. So now I will connect those with, once again, oh, this is equal to, so a solid line. So now that I have graphed both of those lines, it's an inequality. I need to check my shading. So that's where I'm going to solve for y. So my top equation, if I solve that for y, it becomes y is less than or equal to negative 14x plus 60 over 17. So that means I want to shade below this line, so below this line. And then for this one, if I solve it, I get y is greater than or equal to 2 minus x. So I want to shade above this line. So I want to shade below this line, and I want to shade above this line. So below and above would be, let me do it in a different color, everything in between these two lines. So what are some possible combinations of CDs and DVDs that Hideo could buy to satisfy his restrictions? Well, let's see. He could pick this point here, or this point here, or even, let's say, I'll pick this point right on this line because it's solid, it's included. So let's see. I'm going to write these combinations. So this point here is the point 2, 1. This point here is the point 1, 2. And this point here is 1, 1. So what does that mean? Hideo could buy, he could buy 1 CD and 2 DVDs. He could buy 2 CDs and 1 DVD. He could also buy 1 CD and 1 DVD and still spend less than $60. So these are 3 possible scenarios for answers that fall in this range to determine how many CDs and DVDs Hideo could buy.